All right, let's play detective. Today, we're cracking one of the most maddening mysteries in AI video, the case of the morphing character. You know the drill. You spend forever crafting the perfect prompt, you get this amazing-looking character, and then they start to change. The eyes shift, the shirt's a different color, or suddenly it's a completely new face. Why is it so hard for these powerful models to just keep a character consistent?
I mean, we've all been there, right? You generate this perfect character, and as you watch the video, they just drift. It's a problem that totally shatters the illusion and honestly holds AI back from telling longer stories. So the big question is, what is really going on under the hood?
Well, it turns out this isn't some simple bug that just needs a quick patch. Nope, it's way more complicated. The problem comes from the very core of how these models think. To solve this case, we've got to follow the clues, and each one reveals something pretty fundamental about the limits of AI today.
Okay, detective hats on. We're going to break this whole mystery down piece by piece. We're looking for 4 major clues that explain why our AI characters just can't seem to hold it together.
So our very first clue points to a huge problem with the AI's memory. You can think of it like a kind of digital amnesia. The model literally forgets what your character is supposed to look like from one moment to the next.
This memory has a name. It's called the context window, and it's basically the AI's short-term working memory. It defines how many of the last few frames and how much of your text prompt the model can actually see at any given time when it's generating the next frame.
And here's the real kicker. Like this quote says, once a piece of information, like the first frame of your video, falls outside that window, it's just gone. Poof. The AI has absolutely no memory of it. It is completely forgotten.
So here's how it plays out. At the beginning, the AI sees your character. Great, that's what we call the ground truth. But as the video gets longer, that memory window fills up and starts to slide forward. See? Those original frames, the ones that defined your character, get pushed right out of memory. And at that point, the AI has literally forgotten where it started and just begins to improvise, causing your character to drift.
All right, let's get to our second clue. Now, this one is a bit sneakier than a hard memory limit. This is more like a slow, creeping game of telephone, where tiny little mistakes start to build on each other until the original message is totally lost.
In the AI world, this has a name too. It's called latent space drift. See, every new frame the AI generates isn't perfect. It has tiny random variations you can't even see. The problem is, those little errors don't get fixed. They just pile up, one on top of the other, getting bigger over time. And that's what causes the character to slowly drift away from the original design.
This is the absolute best way to think about it. It is exactly like making a photocopy of a photocopy. You know how that goes. The first copy looks fine, the 10th copy is a little fuzzy. By the time you get to the 100th copy, it's just a distorted mess. The AI is basically photocopying the previous frame, errors and all.
And this feedback loop is the real killer. The AI's #1 job is to make sure each new frame flows smoothly from the last one, but in doing that, it accidentally locks in the tiny mistake from the previous frame and then adds its own new mistake. It's this vicious cycle where the AI, in trying to create smooth motion, actually becomes the engine for long-term inconsistency.
Okay, on to our third clue. And this one's less about a technical limit and more about a deep, almost philosophical confusion happening inside the AI's brain. It's a fundamental conflict between showing who a character is and showing what a character does.
You have to understand, the AI has no idea that your character is a single, real thing that exists over time. It has zero concept of object permanence. To the AI, your character isn't a person, it's just a series of statistically likely patterns of pixels. It's not animating a character, it's just making a really, really fancy collage.
And that leads us to the central paradox. To create motion, say to make a character turn their head, the AI has to change the pixels. But to preserve the character's identity, it has to keep those same pixels consistent. Here's the problem. The same parts of the AI's brain are responsible for both identity and motion. They're totally tangled up together.
Honestly, this is the perfect analogy for it. Imagine you had a TV with just one knob, and that single knob controlled both the channel and the volume. Every single time you try to turn up the sound, you'd accidentally flip the channel. That is the mess the AI is in. It can't generate movement without risking a change to the character's core identity.
So our final clue takes us all the way back to the beginning, to the AI's education. The problem isn't just how the model works, but what it was taught with.
The data used to train these models pretty much sets them up to fail at keeping characters consistent.
There are three huge issues here. First, there just isn't that much good video data out there compared to still images. Second, the video data we do have doesn't show the same person in thousands of different clips, which is what the AI really needs to learn what a person's identity is. And finally, the labels are just way too vague. They say things like a man walking, which teaches the AI the idea of a man, not the identity of one specific man.
And this quote from a data report just nails it. The AI is trained to make a plausible-looking woman, but it was never really trained to make that specific woman over and over and over again in different scenes. We're basically asking it to do a job that its education never, ever prepared it for.
So, now that we've laid out all the clues and we know who the culprits are, the big question is, can we crack this case? And the answer is absolutely. Developers are working on a whole bunch of solutions to finally give AI the perfect memory it needs.
So how are we fixing this? Well, the solutions basically fall into three camps. First, you've got simple user tools, which are great for quick fixes like Runway's character reference. You just give it a picture to follow. Then there are the really complex pro workflows, where experts are mashing together powerful tools like ControlNet to basically force the AI to behave. But the most exciting area is new research, with models like Magic ID that are being built from the ground up to solve this problem right at the source.
And that's really the key. The ultimate goal for all this research is to make character consistency an automatic, built-in feature. The burden shouldn't be on you, the user, to figure out some crazy, complicated workflow. It should be on the AI model to just get it right, straight from a simple prompt.
And this is a little peek at where all this is headed. We're talking about future models with something called linear attention that can actually remember an entire video. That solves the amnesia problem. We'll see disentangled models that finally separate identity from motion, which solves that core paradox. And eventually, we might move past just generating pixels and start actually simulating 3D worlds with persistent objects inside them.
So, the big takeaway here is this. Solving the morphing character mystery isn't just about making cooler videos. It's about a fundamental leap in what AI can do. It's the journey from being a really clever pattern matcher to becoming a true consistent storyteller. And that, well, that changes everything. Thanks for watching.